Welcome back to Talk Tottenham. Spurs 2, Burnley 1. Ange set his team up with Skipp playing as an inverted left back. Sarr and Maddison preferred to Lo Celso, who continued to start from the bench, and Johnson on the right of the attack, with Kulusevski on the left and Son central, in the absence of the injured Richarlison. So, what happened? Well, it was a frantic end-to-end start of the game, with both teams setting up to be open and attacking. In the 4th minute, Spurs broke in number, and Son found Maddison, whose shot looked like it was bound for the back of the net, only for a last-ditch block to deny Spurs. But then, Burnley immediately went up the other end, and only a stunning Vicario save and a huge headed clearance from Romero stopped Burnley from scoring. It was a frenetic start to the match that showed no signs of slowing down. As Johnson got on the end of a Kulusevski cross, his strike was just about saved by Muric, who looked to have been caught out of position. But after a few nearly moments for Spurs, Burnley walked through Spurs to score. Sander Berge waltzed past weak challenges from Sarr, Johnson and Porro. He then played a through ball to Richarlison, with Skipp unable to match his movement or pace. And Larson comfortably finished past Vicario. Poor defending all round from Spurs. It didn't take long though for Spurs to respond in the 32nd minute, or more accurately, for Pedro Porro to respond. He was one of the players at fault for the Burnley goal, and he took responsibility on the ball, driving up the pitch before smashing the ball past Muric at his near post. Just before the half-time whistle blew, there was time for Burnley to have one last counter-attack in behind Oliver Skipp again, with Van de Ven covering to protect him, but the Burnley attacker still got their shot off, and it was well saved by Vicario. Half-time, Spurs 1, Burnley 1. How to analyse that first half from Spurs? Well, except for the goal, we were wasteful in the final third, with inaccurate final balls and shots. Out of possession, Burnley have exploited Oliver Skipp's lack of experience at left back and his lack of pace. Although Skipp on the ball has actually played well when he's inverted into his midfield role. Our three midfielders themselves have offered little protection to our back four. As soon as we lose the ball or our press fails, we have been so easy to play through. Sander Berge, who is a good midfielder granted, has been made to look like a world beater when coming up against our midfield at times. The second half continued in the same pattern as the first, end to end, with no control in midfield. Burnley with some good chances that they couldn't take, and Maddison couldn't beat Muric with a huge chance for Spurs. On the 75th minute, Ange makes a triple substitution. Skipp, Bissouma, Kulusevski off, Dragusin, Bentancur, Scarlett on. Van de Ven moves to left back and Son moves to the left wing. Almost immediately the changes had an impact because Son was able to play on his favoured left wing. Sonny ran at the Burnley defence at pace from the left, got away from his marker and put in a brilliant low cross across the box. Johnson got there, but somehow the ball went wide from such close range. And then our other position change resulted in the goal. Micky Van de Ven moved to left back, allowed him to push forward centrally, with fullbacks in Ange's systems popping up in number 10 positions. Micky got on the end of a Maddison through ball, took it beautifully before opening up his body to curl his shot into the bottom corner. Spurs' pressure continued, with Romero's header well saved by Muric. 88th minute, Ange's final substitutions. Sarr and Maddison off, Hojbjerg, Lo Celso on. Johnson went close to picking out Dane Scarlett, whose good movement meant that he would have had a tap-in if Brennan's cross would have just found him. Full-time, Spurs 2, Burnley 1. An important win, especially after 4 losses in a row. How do we analyse that performance? Well, let's start with the negatives. We are so vulnerable to counter-attacks, and these cut through the heart of our midfield. Our midfield is simply not protecting our defence well enough. Bissouma and Sarr are not shielding Van de Ven and Romero and leaving them exposed and overworked at times. The other big negative was our left-hand side for most of the match. Skipp, who was actually neat and tidy in possession, as you'd expect for a midfielder, and when he managed to invert into midfield, was actually an effective midfield player, but he would get exposed at times when out of possession, with Burnley's pacey attackers clearly targeting him, and that's how Burnley's goal came about. On the left wing ahead of Skippy was Kulusevski in the first half, and Kulu worked really hard but was ineffective creatively. What was positive? Well, ironically, our left-hand side again was positive, but for the last 15 minutes. Son looked a completely different player on the left wing and really caused problems for the Burnley defence from there. Burnley found it much easier to contain Sonny when he was playing as the central striker with his back to goal. Also on the left-hand side, playing at left-back for the last 15 minutes was our biggest positive, Micky van de Ven. What can't he do? He had a solid game at centre-back, but when he was moved over to left-back, he still intervened with a crucial interception, and he made a great run down the left wing to create a chance like an orthodox left-back would be expected to, and he performed the inverted full-back role perfectly by coming inside, making a great run, controlling the pass from Maddison, and calmly finishing with aplomb. Micky was awarded 3 Spurs Player of the Season awards pre-match, and he showed during the match why he is rated so highly with a man of the match performance. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and as always, come on you Spurs.